President Joe Biden says that Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel is not working hard enough to free the hostages being held captive in Gaza. The admission marks the frustration of a country that wants to stop the enormous humanitarian devastation caused by the war in Gaza, even as it has been single-minded in pledging ironclad support for Israel. The U.S. State Department says a ceasefire deal needs flexibility from the government of Israel, just as Hamas has to finally find a way to say yes to it. But the Israeli Prime Minister is not budging, despite coming under added domestic and international pressure to seal a deal after the bodies of hostages were recovered from a tunnel in southern Gaza. Benjamin Netanyahu continues to blame Hamas, asserting that it has rejected all elements of a proposal for a ceasefire in Gaza to help the release of hostages. All this while Netanyahu said Israeli forces would retain control over the Philadelphi corridor, which has been a sticking point in the deal. At Wednesday's news conference, Netanyahu reiterated his position on the Philadelphi corridor, saying that ceding control would allow Hamas to smuggle weapons in and hostages and terrorists out. He also stressed the debate over the Philadelphi corridor was not the sole sticking point. Also unanswered, he said, were questions over how many Palestinian prisoners will be freed in exchange for hostages, whether Israel could veto the release of certain prisoners, and where released prisoners should go. Washington says that there are ways to address the issue. At protests in several Israeli cities this week, Netanyahu's critics have blamed him for the deaths of the hostages, saying that he has refused to make necessary concessions for striking a ceasefire deal. Also on Wednesday, an Israeli far-right minister stepped up pressure on Netanyahu to end negotiations for a Gaza ceasefire altogether. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir wrote on the social media platform X that a country whose 6 hostages are murdered in cold blood does not negotiate with the killers, but ends the talks. Of 251 hostages seized by Palestinian militants during the attack on October 7th, 97 remain in Gaza, including 33 the Israeli military says are dead. Scores were released during a one-week truce back in November, the only one so far. Israel's retaliatory military offensive in Gaza has so far killed at least 40,861 people. This is according to the health ministry in the Hamas-run territory. The UN Rights Office says most of the dead are women and children. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.